The next thing we're going to do is to add some basic start scripts for player 1 sprite. So we click on the minimize button to bring our stage back to normal size. Then we go to scripts. Next, we go to events and drag across a green flag. When green flag clicked, what does player 1 do? Firstly, it needs to hide. The second thing that player 1 needs to do is to put the pen up. Now, what is pen up and pen down? You'll see this shortly. And finally, we do a clear. Next, we put another event, and that is when player 1 receives the start broadcast message. Now, who's sending out the start broadcast message? If you'll remember, it's the start screen. The start screen sends out the start broadcast message when the space bar is pressed. So player 1 will receive this start message, which says to player 1 that the game has now begun, and player 1 is going to respond to it. So what's the first thing it's going to do? We go to looks, and we're going to switch to costume start. Next, we drag across pen up as well as clear. Now you may be wondering, why do we have to do it twice? The reason is that there are certain times when the green flag will be called, and there are other times when the start will be called. So we'll need this to run in both cases. The next thing we're going to do is go to motion and drag across, go to XY, and we'll set this guy to position himself at X0, Y0 when the game starts. Next, we go to looks and drag across a show. Then we go back to pen and we set pen color. We drag across a set pen color. Now, what will be the pen color that we are going to set? The pen color is going to be the same color as sprite 1. So how do we get the sprite 1 to show the actual block and not the crash? We simply start the game. So you start the game, press space, and there we go. Now we stop the game and the box is showing. So next we click on the color next to the word 2, and then we point the pointy finger directly above the green area of the square, and what happens is that color becomes selected. So now the player 1 sprite is going to make a line behind it that will be the same color as the sprite itself. Finally, we add a pen down. Now the next thing we're going to need to do is to put in the movement scripts for player 1.